Hello and welcome to this video update. It's been some time since you and I have talked. Today I'd like to talk to you about sequestration. Now that's a name that the government uses for these automatic cuts that are going to take place this week, as a matter of fact, if Congress doesn't reach a resolution with the President regarding the national budget. Now it is going to cost us something in Mississippi. We're not sure how much, but we understand that cuts are going to have to be made. Now, unfortunately, because the President recommended sequestration back in 2011, this cut's going to come to the defense industry, it's going to come to education and perhaps public safety, but it's only a 2.3% cut on the national budget. But our concern is the deficit, $16 trillion. Think about that, if you will, $16 trillion in our debt in the United States. To give you an example, if you were watching a clock tick over by the seconds, it would take you 32,000 years. 32,000 years to watch that clock tick away a trillion seconds. We owe $16 trillion in debt. Now, the Affordability Act, as they call it, strange name for something that the Governmental Accounting Office now tells us will cost another $6.2 trillion added to the $16 trillion. I know those are big numbers, but it means that we are on a physical cliff and we're about to go over it. Now, people in the state of Mississippi are saying, well, expand Medicaid because it's free government money. You and I know money is not free. Whether it comes from Washington or Jackson, it's your tax dollars we're spending. Now, the federal government's borrowing about 45% of those tax dollars from countries like China. Not a very stable way to run a government. And so I've been resistant to expanding because I know in Mississippi that could cost over $1 billion between 2014 and 2020. Our bill for expansion of Medicaid, some additional 300,000 Mississippians to the 640,000 that we have now, could cost us over $1 billion. That would mean between now and 2020, our Medicaid bill alone, with what we incur now and an expansion, would be $12 billion. Now, nobody can tell me how we're going to pay for this. Nobody can explain how we're about to go over a fiscal cliff with the greatest debt in American history and how at the same time we get free money from Washington to expand an entitlement program. Well, you and I know that won't work. And that's why I've resisted it. That's why I've said there's better ways. We still can talk about healthcare savings programs into the future. We're talking about a way to look at tax credits for people who are the working poor or receiving a lower income, folks that work in restaurants that do jobs every day that contribute to society. And so perhaps we're looking at ways to incentivize them through tax credits. Those new innovative ways are what Republican governors are looking at across the country before we expand a broken system that everyone agrees at least 5% of Medicaid costs goes to fraud, waste, and abuse. So I wanted to come to you and let you know where we're at. Now, you'll hear a lot of discussion about this, and you'll hear people say, how can we turn this money down? Well, we need to turn the money down. If it's going to cost us debt for our children and grandchildren, we need to step back and think about how we do it. Now, if it's a tax credit and it helps grow the economy, we're willing to look at that. But that's much different than an entitlement program. So I wanted to bring you up to date. Don't let anyone tell you that Obamacare is the law of the land. The Supreme Court said the states have the right, as to whether or not they will expand Medicaid, which is the centerpiece of Obamacare. So it's not the law of the land. The law of the land said the states finally have the right to make the decision as to whether they want to pass Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, as some call it, and cause great tax increases to their people or draconian cuts in services like education, public safety, and job creation. You needed to know the truth, and you just heard it from me. I wanted to thank you for being a part of this video update, and we'll see you next time.